I lost all my hair. And the reason why I lost all my hair is because I have a real estate team. Woo! They make you nuts. They make you crazy, and they can make you so happy as well. And I've learned lots of lessons over the last 18 and a half years, almost 19 years that I've been in this business. And I have ran a team for the majority of that, probably 2/3 of my career. My name is Erik Hatch. I'm with Hatch Broker by Real, and I'm with Hatch Coaching. And I want to share with you today all the mistakes that you need to avoid when running a real estate team. This is fundamental. It is foundational. It's essential that we learn all the mistakes to avoid when running a real estate team. Now, there is this myth out there. This is a myth understanding. You see what I did there? Yeah. Thank you. I'm a dad joke guy all day, every day. This myth understanding is that when you start a real estate team, it is going to make you more money and it is going to get you time back in your life. And it can down the road, but most people have a hard time getting down the road. And so I want to help you put everything in order. I want to help you set up in the right sort of way so that you can run the most fantastic business, getting you more money, getting you more time, and getting you a whole bunch less headaches while you help people to live great lives in the process. I serve solely and foundationally as a real estate coach for team leaders. And I've had the privilege of coaching some of the top teams across the country for the last 8 years. In addition to that, I've helped my own team here locally, and I'll give you a little bit of a breakdown of what that has looked like. But I want you to understand that this is not my first rodeo, and I have the privilege of being a player coach. I have the privilege of being a guy that has ran the team and been in the stink with many of you in the trenches, as well as now being a coach, getting to learn from what's happening all over the industry. So, we are going to talk about the biggest mistakes to avoid for any and all real estate teams. Whether you're thinking about starting a team or you have a team and it's small, or maybe you're medium, or maybe you're large, wherever you're at, I can convince you, hopefully by the end of this, that there are some mistakes you need to avoid, and let my pain be your gain. With that, here's a breakdown, okay? I got licensed in 2005. I really started in 2006. Gang, I sold 0 houses my first year. How good? Then I joined a real estate team. I did a second year on my own. I sold like 8 or 9 or 10 houses. I don't remember exactly. Then I joined a team. I was a buyer's agent and did that for about a year and a half. Then I was a full-time solo agent, hired an admin. And after that, I started a team. January 1st, 2012, I started my first real estate team. And we started off with 4 of us. By the end of the year, we were 13. I then got kicked out of my brokerage in 2013. I had ran my team for about 15 months, butted heads really hard with the team leader and the broker, and they kicked me out. They said, Erik, you're more of a liability than you are an asset. And so I started over. I thought, that brokerage is so dumb. I can't believe how dumb that brokerage is. That brokerage is so dumb. And I went to my whole team in this Jerry Maguire moment. I'm like, all right, who's coming with me? And 2 people said yes. An admin and a buyer agent. 2 people said yes. And I'm like, oh man, I'm the problem, which is so foundational to so much of this, is that we as the team leaders are often the problem. And we will expound on that in great detail. But I rebuilt. We built back better. And so I hired more intentionally. I trained a lot better. I put myself as a leader of people instead of a producer that hoped people found their way. And wouldn't you know, in the last 10 years now, that team has sold over 7,000 houses. It's been a pretty fun run. We grew to be the number 35 team in the country for production, and that's out of little old Fargo, North Dakota. Fargo is a community where, when we factor in the whole metro, it's about 250,000 people, and we're the number 35 team in the country in our top year. And so that's all great and gravy. But I'll tell you, I've also had years where I've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars running my real estate team. And then I've had years where I've made over $1 million. And so I've seen a lot of different sides of things. And I want to help you to understand that if you do these things, if you can master these things, if you can put yourself in a position where you're going to win as a team leader, these are the things you want to avoid. Take some notes, take some screenshots. We're going to go fast and we are going to go furious, but I hope it's good for you. All right. This one's a big one. And this is actually one that I've learned recently. Failure to get full buy-in on the cadence of the team. If you're taking notes, I'm going to leave it up here for just a moment, but I want you to see the whites of my eyes and the blues of my eyes dance. Okay. What I've learned over time is that unless your team dances to the same beat, and unless your team all rows the boat in the same direction, if you don't do those things, you aren't going to have great results. If you would have asked me 10 years ago to explain why my team was so great, I would have given you a different answer than what I see now, because what I see now is in the rearview mirror. And I understand, like, okay, this is why it was special. And here's how it looked is when someone joined my team, they knew what they were committing to. And we said we were not going to be a team that has average agents. We are all going to strive to be exceptional. We're going to sell more houses than everybody else. And in order to do so, we have to train harder. We have to focus in more. We have to be more aligned. We have to be more strategic. And we have to grow intentionally as a team. And so every morning at 8:30, we sat and we role played. 5 days a week, we sat and we role played from 8:30 to 9:15. Live in-person situations, things that I would prep for, things that we would go through. And it wasn't me just teaching. We were in it. And I was consistently criticizing and coaching and helping people to get better. We weren't gingerly walking around and be like, hey, pretty good job. It was instead, here's the 3 things you need to work on. Go do it again. And we got a lot of reps in. Well, like we sharpened our axe. If we have trees to chop down, we sharpened our axe over and over and over and over and over again. And I felt really good about that. Then we all did lead generation and lead follow-up together. So 9:15 until 10:45 every day, we spent an hour and a half lead generating and doing lead follow-up. Everybody did it. Everyone was in the office. Everybody did it. Everybody was committed because we said we're not going to be average agents. We're going to be exceptional agents. And if you want to play here, you got to sell at least 2 homes a month. It was really clear. It was really concise. You got to do at least 2 a month. And everybody did. And wouldn't you know, then we had people doing 3 a month and 4 a month and 5 a month. And I've had agents on my team, 3 different agents all sell over 100 homes in a year. It's a big deal. And how did that come to be? It came to be because we all were in alignment together. We had full buy-in on the cadence of our team. Sharon Srivatsa, who is the president of Real Brokerage, where I am at, Sharon says that culture is cadence. Your culture is not being nice. Your culture is not is not the ping pong table or the potlucks that you do. Culture is cadence. It is the agreement that everybody takes. And if you don't have any agreements, you don't really have a controlled culture. I think the best teams have a controlled culture. I stole these from my buddy, Matt Miali, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But he said that they have agreements. They don't talk about standards. He said, if I talk about standards with my agents, they are finding it a bit repulsive. They're almost pushing it back like, who wants a standard? And instead, they make an agreement. And I'll share those agreements with you in just a moment. Then you don't talk about how you have team members or agents on your team. You're in partnership together. I was in conversation with an agent I know really well, and we were talking just yesterday. And he came to me as an agent on my team with some flight risk breath about like, hey, I really want a new split, or I really want to change this, or I really want this, or I really want this. And I was able to go back to that framing to say, hey, bro, we are partners together, right? And so as partners, we have to have a win-win at all times. So let's take a look at what we've committed to as a company and have we delivered on that? Let's take a look at what you committed to as an agent in production. Have you committed to that? And then let's see where's the room for us to grow in our partnership. Now, if he's an agent on my team, it's really easy for him to leave. But if we're in partnership together, that means we're having conversations together. It means that we're treating this as moldable clay and we're growing together. If I'm in his position, and I've been in that position, right? I was an agent on a team before. If I'm in that position and I'm simply told, here's the box that you live in, this is the way in which you go, I'm going to be a flight risk. In 2010, I was on a team called the Jim Lund team, and it was the #1 team in all of Fargo. And Jim Lund ran a great organization. I went there as a part-time agent. I still was full-time in the ministry, doing youth ministry and worship leading. And so I went to Jim and I said, hey, I'm outselling all the other agents on the team. I was doing like 24 or 25 a year. I'm like, I'm outselling all the agents on the team. And almost all my deals are coming from my sphere. And so how can I earn a higher split on my sphere? And how can I start working listings? Because I have a lot of my clients that are wanting to do listings. And his answer was, yeah, that's not the way we're built. That's not how we're designed. Yeah. And so what I did is I left 30 days later. I'm surprised I lasted 30 more days because I had run out of runway. It wasn't a partnership. I was an employee. I was a box that I was living in. And I was only like, I would have stayed on that team for forever. I would have sold thousands of homes with that team because I had no desire to leave, but I ran out of runway. But when you're in partnership with your agents in a cadence and a rhythm with them, now the conversations are different. Here's how I respond to that. And I've had a bunch of agents come to me and always ask for higher splits or the corner office, or they don't want to do whatever. Like, and the answer I always give them is yes. Yes. Hey, I want to earn 100% split. Yeah, I want that for you too. That's my response. Yeah, I want that for you too. But then I say yes when. And then we create, as a partnership, we create the when, because I got to still win and he or she still has to win. And so we have to figure out what that looks like together. So the answer is always yes when. It's never no. Hey, can I have 100% split? Hey, can I have the corner office? Hey, can I work no hours a week and still get paid a 6-figure salary? Yes, yes, yes. Of course you can. Let's figure out what that looks like, because that's what a great partnership looks like. And so when you're in a great partnership, you are in cadence together with one another. But I shared with you the agreement above standards piece came from my buddy, Matt Miali. Matt Miali runs a team on the East Coast in Connecticut, and he is so impressive. He said that he has 4 agreements that he makes with his agents. I want to break these down for you. These 4 agreements, by the way, screenshot this or write this down quickly. These are super important. He says that the agents have to agree on day 1 before they ever start that they're going to show up. And that means they're showing up like my team did back in the day. They showed up every day together. It's a 5 to 7 hour a week commitment in full to show up, because they're training and then they're lead generating and then they have a quick little meeting. They're doing that. And it's a total of a minimum of 5 to 7 hours a day, but people stay for much longer. And so he said, if you want to be on my team, you got to show up. And hey, are you okay? Can we agree that you will show up every day? And the response is yes. And so now that's automatically changed the culture and the cadence of how they operate. Number 2 is he said you have to be accountable to the results, which means you are agreeing to being coachable. It means that, yes, there's stories behind all the numbers, but the numbers don't lie. And so you're agreeing to reach your numbers. And so every day, 5 days a week, all agents have to report these numbers. Set, met, and signed. Who set an appointment, who met with a new client, who signed a new client, and then of course they're monitoring like pended and closed deals, right? So set, met, signed, pended, close. Those are the numbers that they report on every day, and it's public and it's visible for everyone to see. And so now when he has these kind of things, my team has faded on some of these things, and so have our consistent results. We're still selling hundreds of homes a year, which is awesome. But the teams that operate at the highest capacity, they're following simple agreements. They're not overcomplicating things. It's just simple. The next is to do the 2, that you're agreeing that if you're going to be on Matt's team, you're going to have 2 appointments a week at minimum. You're going to meet with at least 2 new clients every week. And that's the agreement. And that, of course, is monitored and measured. That's the only thing that matters. Does it take 20 conversations? Does it take 2 conversations? It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is if you have appointments, because you can't sell houses unless you have appointments with people. Finally, you must engage the world. And I love the language that Matt chose for this. He didn't say build your database. He said you must engage the world. And so they need to add 5 new friends to their database weekly. Not 5 new clients, not 5 new contacts, not 5 new transactions, not 5 new leads, 5 new friends. And here's how you determine if someone's a friend. You determine if someone's a friend because if you, as the team leader, went up to them and said, hey, have you, do you know who Tony is? Oh, Tony, yeah, I met him at my gym. Awesome. Hey, that's a friend. They know who you are. They know you by name. And so his agents in the agreement to be on his team are agreeing to engage the world. Now, I could stop right there because that foundational piece for so many of your businesses right now is missing. That there's just a simple agreement between you and your agents on who you're going to be and who they're going to be and what that relationship actually looks like. Your greatest chance at success, because I have let the slow fade creep in, but as I talk to my clients, as I talk to my team now, it is the greatest success is here with alignment and in cadence together. You row that boat, you dance to the same dance, and all of a sudden, compounded over time will be results that will far surpass what you've done in the past. I'm fired up, gang. I'm very fired up. That's number one. Number two on the mistakes to avoid is you put your dominoes in the wrong order. There is literally a proven science on how to win with a team. It's a proven science because I wrote a book on it with my partner, Robbie T. It is the thing of all things that is helpful. These are the dominoes. Regardless of where you're at, and maybe you put the dominoes in some of the wrong order, you can right size these dominoes. So number one is you become a kick butt producer. It is the foundation that real estate teams are built on. Can you go and sell 2 houses and then start a real estate team? I mean, sure you can. Sure you can, but it's not funded well, and it's about to cost you a whole lot. The path for most people that I've seen as proven is you kick butt selling homes. Then you hit a point where it's like, oh, I can't serve all these people well, or I'm leaving opportunity on the table, or I need some time back in my life. Whatever it may be as the catalyst, up comes the next domino. And the next domino is you hire an admin. This is a full-time in-office admin. In this book, The Perfect Real Estate Agent Blueprint, we break this down in full. And so I want to make sure you understand that that can and should be a resource for you. And I'm going to give you a link so you can get the book full free. Gotta love that. Oh, full free. That's my favorite price. Free fitty is also my favorite price. So how about that? But the second domino is once you become a good producer, you hire leverage, not an agent. Oh, so many people make this mistake because they just hire a bunch of agents. And so here's what happens. This is the oh crap. You were a great producer, but you built no leverage for yourself. And then you hire an agent thinking that the agent can do what you do. Well, they take a ton of training and a ton of time, and then they can't sell like you can sell. And so you give them leads that you would have closed, and then they don't close half of those leads, if not more. And then they take a bunch of time. So you can't go and actually sell any more houses because you didn't get any leverage for yourself in the first place. You're still your transaction coordinator, and you're still your listing coordinator, and you're still your runner, and you're still your client care specialist. But if you do the math right and you hire an admin, let's say that admin costs you $50,000 and your average commission is $10,000. There's no doubt in my mind that if you take the time that that admin gives you and you reinvest that time into more dollar income producing activities, that you'll sell 15 or 20 more houses. You'll make $150,000 or $200,000 more, and you'll do so while paying somebody $50K. You're literally going to add over $100,000 to your bottom line when you hire an admin. You're going to work the same number of hours because that admin's going to give you time back, and you're going to reinvest that. That's when the foundation really starts to get built. And then you hire another admin. You actually don't hire an agent yet. You hire another admin, and that person can be virtual. The first one needs to be in office. They have to be. It's the best way to succeed is that first person is in office. Can you hire a virtual as that first person? I mean, sure, but you're leaving so much stuff on the table of what you're still doing. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Instead, you're going to hire an in-office full-time person as number two. Number three is you're going to hire another full-time person, another admin for more leverage. Your first admin leads this person now. They can be virtual. You can save some cash on that. They're going to help you with marketing. They're going to help you with that to-do list that you've never got to. They're going to help you with reach outs to clients and help you to get more. And so now this person is going to cost you $10,000 or $20,000, and you're going to sell 10 more houses and make another $100,000. And so if you spent 20 to make 100, is that good money? Yes or yes? Because the answer is yes. And here and only here, number four, again, this is so fundamental in building the right real estate teams. It's built around your production. You now hire an agent that is the nurse to your doctor. This is an agent partner. This is a salaried agent. You can also pay them a commission, right? I have a whole bunch of YouTube videos on our YouTube channel that talks about this. And so if you want to go down that rabbit hole, I'll give you all the exact percentages and the right salaries and that sort. And of course, it's dependent on your market, but I'll give you what I've seen work for a lot of different people. But on this point, number 4, hire an agent partner. You're literally going to spend your time not doing showings anymore. You're not running around town. You're not interrupting your nights and your weekends. You're getting that breathing room. That agent that comes and works alongside you, they get their MBA in real estate. They get a better experience. You get leverage and time back, and you'll sell more houses with this person. And then your clients get 2 agents instead of 1. It's like a triple win, and there's nothing else like it in this industry. Their job is to do much of the busy work, and you still do the skilled work of getting people under contract and negotiating inspections and writing offers. You're still doing that. But now in this equation, you're selling so many houses. You're doing so many things. And now it gives you the opportunity to have time back because you have leverage in your professional business. You have leverage in your personal production business. And now you can bring on other agents because those agents are going to take a lot of time and a lot of handholding and a lot of love and a lot of patience. And you need to be all those things for them. Oh my gosh. This piece, I started with like the 2 most important. It doesn't mean that there's not important stuff coming around, but I need you to understand that your foundation matters. When you have a team and you want to win and avoid all the mistakes that I've made, because I didn't do the agent partner piece and I didn't do the personal leverage piece. I just hired a bunch of other people expecting that I would make money with them in production, but they ain't me. My buddy, Chris Stewart, he's the president of Place. Place is like a real estate team for teams. I'm proud to be a Place member. He had said to me last year, he said, Erik, you as a team leader often overestimate how much other people know and you underestimate how much you know. And I was like, oh yeah, I do. I throw prime opportunities at mediocre agents, not because they're bad agents, but because they're new and they're inexperienced. They haven't seen what I've seen. They haven't tasted what I've tasted. And they haven't smelt what I've smelt. And so I throw them these opportunities and they fail and they flounder. So I lose big time. They lose big time. And in perfect infomercial voice, Erik, there's got to be a better way. And there is. And it's the agent partner model. And it's these dominoes. It's so important. So if you want a copy of this book, I am going to give it to you for free. All you need to do is go over to the Instagrams, follow me on Instagram, Real Erik Hatch, Erik with a K, Real Erik Hatch. And you just need to DM me one word. And that word is blueprint. When you send me the word blueprint, you're going to get the book for free. You just pay shipping and handling. We'll send it out within a couple of days and it'll be landed in your hands. It's also available on Audible if you're interested there. Okay. Number 3, I got a few to go through. Number 3 is awesome. There's the hunting for new versus taking care of old. I added the phrase, even the term past client is misleading. I think that most real estate teams that have relied on buying leads have a gold mine that is being uncared for. I think that most people can stop buying leads. Most teams can stop buying any and all leads, and you put your focus on your past clients, on your sphere of influence, and on your current database that you have without anything new going there. And I think your profit margin will increase exponentially. Hear me very clearly. The mistake that I've made far too often is that I tried to buy my way to the top. Buying leads ends in brokenness. There has to be a strategy, and the main strategy, the number 1 strategy, and that's to focus on your past clients and sphere of influence. I don't even like the name past clients because it means that they worked with you before. No, it's just clients. Somebody, like, the only past clients that people have is in a graveyard, is at a funeral home. Like, that's a past client. The people that we've worked with, that we've transacted with, that we've sold homes to, well, they're still our clients. And that means we have to bring them our best. And instead, what we're doing is we're just like automating them and like, hey, this 33 touch drip campaign is going to make them feel loved. I made $25,000 in commission off of them and spent months of time side by side. But now they get my newsletter, so they should be really grateful. And so we have to be better with that. We can't just automate our past clients. We can't just hunt for new. We need to take care of our old. So there needs to be a plan for the leads that you have, a plan for the clients that you've worked with, a plan for the sphere that you have. It's a really important plan. So I want to show you where the impact goes. This is a graphic from the Perfect Real Estate Agent Blueprint, which I gave you just a moment ago. On the left-hand side is where it is least potent On the right-hand side is where it is most potent. And so your goal needs to be focused on how many one-on-one conversations, how many appointments do you have? How many face-to-face or voice-to-voice conversations are you having on the regular? Your likelihood to find success diminishes greatly when you get away from one-on-one and in-person connecting. So if you want to win, you got to have more relationships than everybody else. And you want to win, you got to have more conversations than everybody else. You don't need more leads to win. You need to be better with the leads that you have to win. So I stated it a little bit before, but it's worth repeating, is that conversion only happens in conversations. It is your chance to win in the greatest of ways. We're going faster. We're speeding up because I got so much to say in such a little time period. Okay. You failed to build a big reputation. You're buying your way to the top. You're not actually building any mind share. You're not getting any time on brand. Sharon says that time on brand is the new call to action. What's more valuable? That someone watches your social media stuff and consumes 5 minutes of your content every day, or that they gave you their AOL email while signing up to look for a house? What's more important? The email address or the time on brand? What's more important, that someone sees you engaged in your local community all the time and you become synonymous with nonprofits and synonymous with giving back? Is that more important? Or is it more important that you put a billboard up that says, contact me for all your real estate needs? Which one matters more? Because your reputation, bless me, your reputation will help you to sell a whole lot more houses. You need to understand this, that there's 4 places to get business from. The first is PCSOI, past client sphere of influence. That should be the focus for so much. That is a great reputation business spot. That's where you build mind share. That's where you serve. That's where you have so many conversations and connections. Low-hanging fruits, please heed warning at low-hanging fruit. It is dangerous. Low-hanging fruit is exceptionally dangerous. What they are is Zillow, Realtor.com, HomeLight, Dave Ramsey, agent referrals, things that are costing you a very, very expensive amount of cash, but they're quick to transact. We use that as like an immediate accelerator. I can't tell you how many of my coaching teams right now are struggling because they become addicted to Zillow. And their agents and their inside sales agents, their ISAs, are addicted to Zillow because Zillow pays people right now 40% less than what they used to. 40%. And what happens is when that 40% blowback comes, well, shoot, I guess I'm going to go find something that pays me 100%. But they're addicted. They're addicted to the quick hit. They're addicted to the, hey, this person wants to see houses right now. And so people are building their businesses irresponsibly on the quick hits. Focusing on low-hanging fruit is dangerous. If this is the main leg of your stool, it's dangerous. It can be one of the legs, but it should probably be the smallest. The third way to get business is from long-term nurtures. Long-term nurtures are like pay-per-click advertising, right? Like a $5 to $15 lead. It's a neighborhood farm. It is open houses. It's building and capturing eyeballs, and then making sure that you are dripping on them consistently so that they hopefully raise their hand. But they're not transacting back and forth with you. They're just sitting in the shadows to see if you can win them over. I think it's a really valuable way to grow your business, but it's not a way to make, it's not a way to get fed today. It's just something that you need to be playing as a longer term game. And most people aren't playing that longer term game. You're just playing the game to win today. I need to feed my family today. And so you're going to chase after low hanging fruit, and it's just a losing proposition. But the final one is reputation. As you see it, reputation is so big. It's so important. So think about your Google reviews when it comes to reputation. Think about your online presence. Think about your YouTube channel. Think about your social media. Think about your involvement in the community. If you fail to build that reputation piece, people don't come knocking on your door. I've been on radio for 12 and a half years. And if you need an introduction to radio, please direct message me. I would love to help you out with radio. I have a great resource for you. But radio is a huge thing because people hear me weekly. I have a local radio show. I pay $1,000 a month to have 2 hours of airtime a month on the #1 AM station in our area. It's actually a great stinking deal because they're looking for weekend content all the time. and then I repurpose it, and I put things out there on my social media for my radio show, and then I bring in guests, and then those guests advertise my show, and like it's all of a sudden like I'm the real estate guy because people have heard my name, and I've become synonymous with real estate and synonymous with success. And I control the narrative on it. I'm paying to be there. I'm paying $1,000 a month. I get vendors to pay for that, by the way, so it's no cash out of my pocket. But there is a great chance for you to start thinking about this a little more strategically. If you want to build a reputation where someone comes knocking on your door and they say, hey, I followed you for years, or I've really valued your content, or that reputation game doesn't provide fruit right away. But what happens is it makes your conversion so much easier. So the teams that are chasing after bot leads versus earned business, those are teams that are losing right now. Those are teams that haven't found great profit and great consistency and predictable business. Number 5, here we go, folks. Number 5 is that you are terrible with numbers. Oh my gosh. So many teams are terrible with numbers. I heard a team just yesterday teaching and bragging, and their numbers were trash. Here's what they were saying is they literally said, we spend $24,000 a month on Zillow. It's a lot of cash, right? Zillow is Zillow Flex, and then they also have a premier agent option where you pay out of pocket. So $24,000 a month on Zillow. But they're getting lenders and inspectors and title companies and warranty companies. They're getting them to pitch in some cash. And so they're actually only paying like 12 or 13K out of pocket. Okay. 12 or 13K out of pocket. And then they share their numbers of how many homes they're closing. And they said, hey, we're making like $120,000 a year as a company on Zillow. But they told me their numbers, and I just needed to pull out my calculator. And I pulled out the old calculator and I did the math. I'm like, no, you're actually breaking even on Zillow. You're making $0 on Zillow. In winter months, you're losing a bunch of money. In summer months, you're probably making some cash, but you're losing money on Zillow. And so many people are addicted to the transaction, but not the profit. And this is a mistake far too many real estate teams make, is that they're addicted to the transaction as a braggadocious belief that, hey, this will eventually become a forever client for ours. But if it doesn't make sense in the beginning, you probably shouldn't do it. This is trouble. That is not a picture of me. I don't have near as much hair, but that is a picture of someone that's about ready to get hit in the crotch by a resistance band. A resistance band, if it has a tiny little tear in it, is going to snap on you. A rubber band, when pulled hard, if it has a tiny little tear in it, it's going to snap. And that guy's about to get hit in the nuts. Like, it's trouble a brewing, because if there's a tiny little tear in that resistance band, it's just a matter of time until he gets whacked. And if you're building a real estate team without clear profitability and healthy profit margins, as you expand your team, but there's already that little tear in what you've built. That tear is a lack of profitability. If you expand that, you're about to get hit in the nuts. You're about to get whacked. You're about to be in total trouble if you don't get your numbers right. Buying your way to the top will feed your ego, and it will drain your bank account. Money is not the reason why we do things. Money is the vehicle that gives us oxygen in our lungs to impact and influence the world. But you cannot have significance if you first don't have success, and success needs to come on your profit and loss statement. So from the Perfect Real Estate Agent Blueprint, we give this to you as a sample P&L. Now, you as an agent, if you're in production, you should be paying yourself the same kind of split that you're paying agents. The splits that you pay is called COGS, cost of goods sold. And so here you see at the top, we recommend, or we say on a sample P&L, that your cost of goods is 40%. And you're like, Eric, what agents are going to work for 40%? Some work for 50 or 60 or 70 or 80. And I'll say, well, new agents shouldn't get paid what experienced agents get paid. And it's up to you on if you want buyers and sellers to get paid the same. Like, there's a lot of conversation in here, and I'm not endorsing any specific commission. I'm just showing you on a sample P&L, your cost of goods. If it's 40%, then you have to look at your expenses. And there's 3 main categories for expenses. It's overhead, lead gen, and people. Those expenses on this sample P&L are 35%. So your profit margin Yes, you're paying yourself a commission on your deal, so you make that money. But you should strive to have a profit margin of no less ever than 15%. Some of the best teams are doing 20, 30, 40% profit margins. Now, 40% is astronomically hard to get to. I would rather have 20% of a watermelon than 40% of a grape. And so I understand this is always a fluid conversation, but if you don't get your numbers right, there's no money to be had. And you are now a charity instead of a for-profit business. Number 6 on the list of mistakes that so many teams make, including mine, is failure to raise up other leaders. Oh my gosh, this failure is real. If you are the only leader in your organization, you're in trouble. Now, if you're a team of 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, you can get by with that. But what happens when you start adding more people is all those people are reliant on you. Now, leaders and managers are two different things, right? Managers manage systems and processes and that sort. But leaders, well, they help make decisions and they call out things and they serve as coaches and they're unafraid to have hard accountability conversations. And if you continue to grow and add head count, but you haven't added leader count, well, you're going to have people that unintentionally steamroll you because you don't have the systems and the processes. Or if you do go and give it all your time, well, now you're letting go of your personal production. When you let go of your personal production, you've lost the biggest funder of your team and your business. And so you should look to add leaders. I always say this is Jesus had 12 disciples and y'all ain't Jesus. And so the best kind of leadership style is it should be 5 or 6 people to every one leader. These can be subgroups. The leaders don't even need to necessarily have the financial investment in it, but they do get a chance to help make the decisions and move things forward. By the way, leading leaders is like my call in this business. And so if you need help developing your leadership strategy, I would happily do a strategy session with you and serve you however I can just to help you to win. Okay. Number 7, you don't spend enough time sharpening your axis. Okay. Where we find ourselves right now is that we are in a different season than we have been. In 2021, the United States transacted over 6 million closed houses. That's 12 million sides. And so the average realtor, I think there is 1.6 million realtors. Let's say there's 1.2 million because I just want to show you simple math. There's 1.2 million realtors and 12 million transactions. That means that we averaged 10 transactions per realtor. That's great. Well, today we're seeing that there is 4 million homes transacted in the year 2023, and 2024 is looking to be less than that unless we have a very strong fourth quarter. And so we went from 12 million homes transacted down to 8 million homes transacted. And with 1.2 million realtors, we went from the average realtor selling 12 houses to now selling 7 houses. From 12 to 7, that's a big deal, gang. That is a painful, painful deal. And realtors right now are struggling. And the reason why they're struggling is that they don't have a sharp enough axe. This is my wife here at the bottom of the picture. She was in San Francisco a month or 2 ago with her best friend, and she went to the redwood forest. And I think that most of us are used to this tree in the foreground. Like that's super easy to chop down. That's what real estate felt like, is that there's easy trees to chop down. But now we're chopping down redwoods. There's still a forest full of opportunity. We are not barren of opportunity. We have bigger trees to chop down. We have more objections. We have more tension. We have more competition. We have more things that are making it hard for us, but there's still plenty of opportunity. I saw Sharon present on this and just to say, hey, what's the reason why you haven't reached your goals in the last year? Is it because of skills, effort, or opportunity? Well, opportunity I just covered, right? I don't think we can blame opportunity. There's still a forest full of trees, but there's just big honking redwoods at this point. We got big trees. So we got to say, is it skill or is it effort? Because skill is our sharp axe. Effort is the number of swings that we take. The mistake I see too many teams making is you put your emphasis on effort and you don't put it on effort and skill. Effort is the number of hours you're going to swing that axe. But if that axe is dull, there's no way those redwoods are going to get chopped down. And what happens is people lose their belief. If you see that after a week of chopping at one tree, it hasn't budged, you haven't even made a dent in it, you're going to give up. and that crushes morale. But if you concentrate in the very beginning, I talked about the cadence, right? And that you're training every day and that you're role playing and that you're getting better. I talked about that as so important. That is the sharpening of the axe that I'm talking about. I don't need you to give me 10 hours a week. I need you to give me 45 minutes of major intensity to sharpen that axe, because your effort and the swings that you take can be less when you have a sharp axe. And so most teams out there right now that are struggling have not spent enough time sharpening their axe and working on their skill set. The trees are bigger. It is a thicker forest than it has been before. And if you are not giving a serious amount of time in your cadence and your culture to sharpening your axe, I'm fearful that your agents are going to get burnt out, that your partners are going to get burnt out, that the people who you're rolling with won't have enough to go down the road and win long term. They're going to be too burnt out. And I don't want that to happen for you. Number 8. Let's pause here, okay? Slow to eliminate cancers in your world. The wrong people don't deserve your time and your energy and your culture and your environment. And you're waiting for them to come around. And you're hoping that they choose to follow the plan and to follow the agreement that they made. I have a coaching client right now who had an agent on his team that made him batty. The guy always showed up late. He didn't do the things that he was supposed to in the CRM. He didn't follow any of the agreements or the standards that the team had. And this guy came to me. He's like, hey, man, how can I get him to X, Y, or Z? Like, I'm like, you can't. Like, you can't teach hungry. Either the guy's hungry and wants to show up or he doesn't. And he showed himself that he didn't want to show up. And so trying to spend all your energy and time on something that's never going to provide fruit for you is a bad way to provide. It's a bad way to take care of your family and your team. You should give your attention to those that are the most likely to raise their hands and show up and to perform well. And you should give no time and no attention to the cancers in your world. Now, I should add to this list as well. I should add to the list the importance of hiring right. 80%, please write this down. If you're taking notes, this is super important. 80% of all your problems will go away if you hire the right people. 80% of them go away. Almost all the things I just talked about, they become unnecessary to even address in most situations because you hired the right people, and the right people immediately and automatically fit into the culture and they want to be better. If you have cancers in your world and you have agents that don't fit, you don't have to go and fire them today. But what you do is you reintroduce new agreements, and then they can choose if they want to self-select themselves out of the business or if they want to row the boat with you and they want to be in cadence and alignment with you. It's a great opportunity. Don't sleep on this opportunity. You don't have to go fire people today and say, all right, listen, Keely, you are just crapping the bed here. This is not going to work. And instead you say, hey, Keely, I've fallen short as a leader and I've done a bad job of upholding agreements and standards to our organization. And I'm committed to helping you reach your goals. The question is, are you going to be committed? Because these are the agreements that are going to be necessary for us in order to do business together. That means you got to show up. It means that you got to do the two. It means that you have to agree to be accountable. And it means that you have to add at least 5 people, make 5 new friends a week, right? Like you have to be engaged in the world. Those are the agreements. Do you agree to that? And Keely will say, yeah, I agree to that. Awesome. Super cool. I just want you to understand that if you don't agree to that, or if you don't do your job that you said you're going to, I just won't work anymore. And that's okay with me if it's not for you, but like I'm committed to us being in alignment and us making this work. Now, the people who want to win, they're going to show up and they're going to do the big 4 and they're going to do the stuff that they need to do. The people who don't want to row the boat with you, get them off that boat quickly. It's dead weight. But Erik, hey, they have a couple of clients that are about to close on a deal. But Erik, they And what you sound like is somebody in an abusive relationship. Now, I've never been in an abusive relationship, but I had a very dear friend that was. And she would come to me and she would say, but Erik, he, and gave all these reasons why she should stick around in that. And it's such a stark difference between an abusive relationship and a real estate team. Please, I'm not saying that they're the same thing, but the language pattern was the same. That's the parallel I'm trying to make. The language pattern of but I'm waiting for this thing to change, or there's still some hope here. You have to make a clear decision of I'm either in this or I'm out of this. And if the basic standards of violation, like, hey, you probably shouldn't hit someone. Please, if you're in a relationship like that, get some help immediately. If you're on a real estate team and you're in a relationship and an agreement and a partnership with people where they say they're going to do something and they don't, get that cancer out of your world. If you are dealing with people problems, I think we're all dealing with people problems. If you're dealing with people problems, literally next week, if you're watching this live, next week, I have an event in Denver. Okay, you can save 50% off the ticket price. Like, holy cow, big old savings. The ticket's going to cost you less than $500. It is the best thing we're doing all year because it is your event. We're going to work on your people problems. We're going to have iron sharpening iron. We're going to help you to win. So please book a ticket. Do so right now and win your game. Gang, there's 1,000 more mistakes that teams are making that I didn't cover here. There's 2,000 more mistakes that I've made as a real estate team leader that I didn't cover here. And I want to close with this final thought is if you're struggling, if you are not a 10 out of 10 right now as a team, if things aren't hitting on all cylinders, it's probably time that you get a better team. And I'm not talking to the team that you lead. I'm talking about the people that help lead you, coaching and masterminding and networks and people that will challenge you and hold you accountable and help you to be the best version of yourself. If you're struggling as a leader, well, guess what? Leadership is the hardest friggin' job there is. Real estate is easy. People are complicated. And so can we get you into a spot and a place where you're all of a sudden checking the box and achieving your goals and living your best life? If the path that you're currently on is going to get you there, then more power to you. If you're craving better alignment and you could use some leadership in your life, someone to lead a leader, I'd be honored to try to help you any sort of way. I got nothing to sell you today. I want you to just grow. And if that's the case, I have things that like, hey, there's hard costs in this. We got to cover that. But like, I want to help you to grow. So please reach out to me. Be a bro. Find me on Instagram, Real Erik Hatch, Erik with a K. And gang, if you are interested in anything that we have, just come knocking. I want to serve you in the best sort of way. Otherwise, I will catch you all on the flippity flip. Much love.